Hey guys, welcome back. We're going to be reading the Loving Parent Guidebook. We're on chapter 10, at page 108. In case you're interested to take a look here. Yeah, so 108 is called Connecting to Your Needs. So we went through some of the readings on feelings. Those teach us how to identify, connect, and get to process those feelings, understanding them in context. And then from that, you want to go into working on your soundtrack as always. Sure is working. Yes. It's good. Turn that off. Okay, so connecting to your needs. Connecting to your needs. As with feelings, we often learn from our dysfunctional families to ignore, downplay, or feel ashamed about our needs. This leaves us without the skills, vocabulary to talk about them. If our caregivers shamed us for expressing or having needs, this might have led us to deny them for fear of being too needy. However, there's a big difference between having needs and being needy. Everyone has needs. They identify what we require to be healthy, safe, and fulfilled. Codependency is rooted in our tendency to avoid our needs and feelings or to expect that another person will meet all of our needs. However, sometimes we might indeed have unhealthy levels of dependence on others. Become aware of this. Becoming aware of this balance is part of our learning. Responding to our own needs in healthy ways. Uh, responding to our I lost it. Responding to our own needs in healthy ways is an important part of reparenting and recovery in general. It requires time and practice, but eventually we become skilled in doing so. All human beings share core needs. For example, all humans have the need for sustenance, safety, and love. Everything we do is an attempt to meet a conscious or unconscious need. Needs point us towards what will make our life happier and healthier and help us find strategies to fulfill them. When our needs are met, we tend to have pleasant feelings. Unmet needs tend to trigger unpleasant feelings. Learning that our feelings come from our needs can help us become actors who find ways to meet our needs rather than reactors who judge and blame ourselves and others when our needs are met. I'm going to make a comment, but I'm going to come back to that after. Realizing that others can trigger our feelings, but that they can't make us feel a certain way can be an empowering revelation. We can identify what needs of ours is met or unmet in a situation rather than attribute the cause of our feelings to others. If we value our needs, it's more likely others will too. The inner child might not know or trust it's okay to have needs and wants. They might feel uncomfortable requesting what they need or even acknowledging a need. Asking for what we want is breaking the don't talk, don't trust, don't feel rule. It can bring changes, uncertainty, and possible disappointment or embarrassment. This is why becoming our own loving parent is so crucial. We can help the inner child let go of false beliefs, such as it's weak to have needs or it's selfish to ask for what you need. Our loving parent can help our inner child cope with their feelings and tell them, your needs matter and I will find a healthy way to help you meet them. When the inner child has self worth, honoring needs, making requests, and not taking someone else's no personally becomes easier. Ultimately, the more we reparent, the more we trust that it's okay to stand up for our needs and to set boundaries. Exercise connecting to your needs. Consider checking in with yourself once a day to notice what need is alive. You could check with both your inner child and inner teen. Emotions and physical sensations that arise when you check in can be pointers to your needs. If a part of you judges your needs in any way, you might need to set a boundary, such as, we were taught to judge our needs harshly, or I'm practicing accepting and learning how to meet them. You might be able to meet your needs yourself, and at other times, you can think of who can help you meet them. That's the reading for today. One thing I wanted to say, in this paragraph. Learning that our feelings come from our needs can help us become actors who find ways to meet our needs. I'm not saying that being an actor is manipulation, but being an actor at minimum is influence. For me, they are basically the same thing, manipulation and influence. I know that manipulation has like a negative connotation, but that's what we are denied. They didn't want to say it in this book. Even the DBT, interpersonal effectiveness skills, they talk about you have to have what is your goal that you desire out of this outcome, out of this interaction. So having a goal and then taking strategic actions to achieve that goal is manipulation and influence. But they don't say that in the DBT book, and they don't say it in this Loving Parent Guidebook. But in fact, when people say we stop becoming reactors and become actors, what they're saying is that we become people who influence, we become people who manipulate. But nobody wants to say that directly. And that's one of the things that really makes me frustrated about this process of reparenting, especially because people tend to be stuck in this kind of naive thinking, after such moral injury of this childhood abandonment and abuse. And so, really, that's what they mean. When you become an actor, again, as I said earlier today, the world is a stage. Shakespeare said, the world is a stage. This is fake. Franz Kafka said, I was ashamed when I attended life with my real face, only to realize it's a costume party because it's fake. So nobody want to say this shit. I don't understand why, but it really pissed me off, because the point of life is influence and manipulation. When someone say someone is strong or weak, what they're saying is basically your ability to influence, persuade, influence, or manipulate someone. And that is the exact same thing that it means from going from a reactor to an actor. And again, nobody want to say that. I don't understand what the fuck is the problem about telling the truth, because I hate when people stay stuck in a cycle. Even in the DBT, it should just be in the DBT. And you should say the point of human life is influence, manipulation, and persuasion, because we're all gauging how much power we have to influence the external environment to get whatever we want or whatever we think we need or want from the external environment. All of this is manipulation. It's literally manipulation. But nobody says that in all these books. And it's like everybody keeps circling this question, but don't nobody want to just say what the fuck it is. So I'm like the first one to say it. Literally. I ain't seen nobody else in any of these support groups. No one else on YouTube has said this. No other therapist has said it. But that's basically the whole bottom point of the line. And nobody wants to admit that influence, persuasion, and manipulation is the point of life. And people who come from dysfunctional families are not able to influence their environment to get their needs met. Not that they're not able to, but they struggle with that. And for that reason, it becomes more difficult. And they become reactors as opposed to actors who influence the environment to get their needs met, influencing the environment as well as other people. But again, nobody wants to say that shit. So here you go. I say it straight directly. I think I'm gonna continue it. Let's see. Should I split that up or what? I think I'll. Yeah, I will continue. So this next section is on page 109, and it's called "Distinguishing Your Needs from Strategies." I don't know if you guys can even see that from there. And so I'm going to go on also with this section on distinguishing needs from strategies, or distinguishing strategies from needs. Have that backwards. So this will be the last section that I need. A strategy is a particular choice for getting our needs met that involves a person, location, action, time, and object. The foundation of influence, persuasion, and manipulation. There are many strategies we can use to try to meet our needs. We can set ourselves up to be disappointed if we get attached to a particular strategy. Gosh, my nose is like so stuffy, guys. We might wish that even now our parents were responsive and loving, for example. If we hold on to that picture of how our need for love will be met, we deny other possibilities. We might, for example, find that need would be better fulfilled by our inner loving parent, our family of choice, or our fellowship. Our basic needs were not consistently met growing up. We develop strategies to meet them that might have or might not have been healthy. For example, to meet our need for love, we might have engaged in attention seeking behavior. If that strategy got our caregiver's attention, we probably kept using it. Even if the attention we got wasn't loving, at least it was something. Needs are basic, we can't get rid of them. We can, however, adapt and change our strategies. Learn to distinguish needs from strategies helps us realize there might be many ways of and options to meet our needs beyond our past strategies. When one strategy doesn't work, we can find another that does. For example, when we reach out to fellow travelers to meet our need for support, the first person we might call the first person we call might not answer. We can try calling other people to use a completely different strategy, such as journaling, meditating, praying, walking, and taking a walk, and attending a meeting, or using another supportive resource. When we confuse a strategy for a need and that strategy isn't available or doesn't meet our need, we can feel helpless or defeated. Getting attached to how we meet our needs can help make us dependent on a strategy and ignore other ways to meet our needs. When we identify and connect to the inner child's feelings and needs and open to new ways of meeting our needs, we move from being stuck in the problem to living in the solution. We have more choice. This is how our loving parent works with our inner family. Gently identifying and acknowledging the feelings, patiently addressing the underlying needs, releasing the outcome, uh, releasing the outcome to a higher power. Sometimes we can't meet a need due to time constraint settings or other practical reasons. For example, our inner child might need empathy while we're in a business meeting. In such cases, we can honor that need by telling our inner child that we will listen to them as soon as we're free. We can connect them. We can connect with their need as something important, even if we can't meet it right at that moment. Thank you. That's our reading for today.